Mr. President, as we continue to take stock of the anti-corruption agenda in Zimbabwe, the collaborators of this event found it necessary, following your launch on the 14th of October of a strategic roadmap to the achievement of a 12 billion mining industry by 2023, to include a panel that concentrates on issues of corruption in the extractive sector. I will now hand over to Mr. Farai Mutondoro, the Programs Manager of Transparency International Zimbabwe, who will introduce us to the panelists, and the same rules apply as the rules applied in the first one. 4 minutes per panelist, 8 for His Excellency, and the cards will show. So please make sure you pay attention to me here.
Thank you so much. Humble greetings, Your Excellency. My name is Farai Mutondoro. On my right and on my left, these are the miners who are building this great country and whose efforts you did frame the 12 billion mining economy on. So seated to my right is Miss Blessings Wungwe. She is with the Zimbabwe Women Miners Association. This is a group contributing very much in terms of gold output to the country. Seated next to you is Mr. Makone, who traveled all the way from Penalonga. He's an artisanal miner contributing again to gold output in the country. On the far end is a lawyer just like you, Mr. Moses Ngomo, who will give us a legal perspective. So I think the two learned of yous will get to discuss mining legislation in Zimbabwe. So as a matter of trying to contextualize our discussion, I think I was born on the 30th of October, 1986, and 98 years before my birth year, the RAD concession was signed. So this is 131 years after the signing of the RAD concession in Zimbabwe. That became the first mining contract that shapes the present-day Zimbabwean economy. But we still have the Mines and Minerals Act that was crafted in 1961, 59 years ago. We have challenges that Mike Pierce will speak to arising from the inadequacies of the law that you say, can you show me the evidence where the policy does lack effectiveness? So to better do that, I'll ask Mr. Moses Ngomo to tell us what are the challenges with the Mines and Minerals Act that has been there since 1961, 59 years post-independence. We still have that legislation. Over to you, Mr. Ngomo.
Thank you very much, and Your Excellency, thank you for giving us this opportunity. The topic of discussion is the effects of corruption on the extractive sector. And both the MC and the moderator have indicated or made reference to the launch of the roadmap. So, in my view, we should look at the hazards of corruption to the attainment of a $12 billion mining sector by 2023. And I would say, Your Excellency, if there is any single risk to the attainment of the noble vision, it is corruption. And corruption at 5 levels. The first level is on the exploration of the mineral wealth that this country has. We read in the newspapers a couple of weeks ago that there are people that did exploration work of the mineral resources of this country, but the results, they have withheld them. So we have to depend on somebody, on their benevolence, to tell us the extent and magnitude of the wealth that we as a nation have. But also, there is the question of the award of rights. The moderator made mention to the RAD concession. The award of rights in this country, mining contracts, are shrouded in secrecy and mystery. And that is fertile ground, Your Excellency, for corruption. Because somebody is given rights that we are not even aware as a country of the scope and extent of. And the person who negotiates on behalf of us all concerning this common heritage of us all can easily be persuaded to say, you have a personal interest, we can take care of your financial interests, so give us a favorable deal. The RAD concession is a typical example of a contract that benefits individuals and not the entire country. And that is a risk that we run insofar as the award of mining rights are concerned. The third level, Your Excellency, is on production. We do not have a system in place to monitor the actual production of minerals. And that opens a door for corruption. Somebody declares what they want to declare, and we do not have a mechanism to verify whether what they have told us that's what they produced is in fact what they have produced. The fourth level, Your Excellency, is on marketing of the mineral resources. Right now, we have, in respect of gold, we have Fidelity and other minerals, we have ZMDC. But there is a lot of side marketing that is taking place. And that is where the majority of our minerals are being pilfered out of our country. Then the fifth and final is benefit sharing. Who is benefiting from the mineral wealth of this country? Are the people, are the communities actually benefiting from the exploitation of the mineral resources? Your Excellency, the Constitution of this country in section 315, subsection 2, paragraph C, requires that there be in place an act of parliament that provides for negotiation and implementation of mining concessions and other rights. But 7 years after the promulgation of the Constitution, we do not have a statute, an act of parliament that provides for transparency in the extractive sector. Food for thought, Mr. President.
I think it's difficult to have a lawyer speak to another lawyer. But then I was taking notes for you that I will share with you, Your Excellency. So my late mom was, she would sell kubagabaga, and I think you know the term kushurugwi. Vainotengesera makorokoza kubagabaga. This is artisanal mining along Shurugwi Road, where they would sell bread, they would sell all the necessities that are needed for miners. So women do play a key role in mining in Zimbabwe, but are they recognized? How are they affected by corruption? So who to tell us that story better than Blessings Wongwe, who has been in the industry for more than 5 years? Can you share with the Excellency, Blessings, your experiences in terms of the gender defects of corruption in extractives?
Thank you, Your Excellency. In the mining industry, it's very difficult for women to be working because of the machete. I think there are people who are coming down to the mines, and as long as there's money at the mines, or when they discover there's money, they are coming and hitting women and hitting the workers, the youths. So it is now difficult to be a woman and mining. Riverbed mining. Many women have been artisanal miners benefiting in the rivers. I'm actually a product of riverbed mining. But all of a sudden, ZMDC has taken the rivers and partnered with Belarus and partnered with some individuals. Now, those women who have been circulating money in the system, with the little money they get from the rivers, are now stranded, Your Excellency. They don't know what to do. My question is, are there any mechanisms that have been put in place for the communities to benefit? As it is said in section 17 of the Constitution, communities will benefit from the resources that are mined in their areas. So are there any mechanism put in place for the communities to benefit? Access to mining claims. Zimasco returned some mining claims to the government, and these mining claims were open for pegging. was there any mechanism put in place for who will benefit, how they will benefit? Many women did not benefit from those claims, Your Excellency. And the system of how they were given to people is not transparent, Your Excellency. Going on to fidelity printers, I think my colleague, the lawyer, has mentioned that the market is not good at all. But Fidelity Printers has written in papers that it has $20 million put aside for women miners to access, to be able to put in their claims. But on the 20 million that was put aside in 2018, 2019, only 5 women were able to access that money. The rest can't access because of the stringent rules, what the expertise, what they want from women. So that money is not going to the beneficiaries, Your Excellency. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blessings. I'll ask Mr. Makoni to sum it up in terms of their experience with regard to Penalonga, your experience with Red Wing Mine, the issues of pollution and many other things. Over to you.
Your Excellency, I would like to share a few issues on the illicity and illegal activities in the mining sector. One of the problems that we have, I think it's a confirmation because you raised your concerns also during Congress about these people who are moving from their areas and coming into communities with rich deposits of minerals, and they are grabbing mining claims. And some in the name of the party, some purporting to be highly connected to senior government officials. And this is causing community conflicts, especially in Penalonga areas, Chiatswa, Chimanimani, I think Gwanda, etc. So communities are very much worried that this is threatening the policy of devolution. Because if foreign people are coming and controlling resources in the areas, then there's no autonomy, and it defeats the purpose of devolution. Second point is on bureaucratic corruption by government officials who are actually demanding, bribes and kickbacks. And this is inhibiting productivity. Many people who want to access mining claims have been denied. People now other companies are operating without any papers, any legal papers or, papers required by government regulations. We have examples of companies operating without even, those environmental impact assessments, causing much damage to the environment and ripping the ecosystem. Now, the third point is on the illicity outflows. There is a serious, smuggling of gold to neighboring countries by illegal buyers. Whether these are licensed or not, we don't know. But information is that this country is losing close to $20 million per annum through those activities. And I don't understand how then will you be able to achieve the 2023 US billion, is it 20 billion, 12 billion from the mining sector. Fourth point would be on the miner-farmer conflict. A lot of miners, everybody's becoming a miner anyway. You've got over 1 million artisanal miners who are now digging everywhere in the country. Some you don't know them, some are illegal. But the consequences are that now agricultural productive land is being encroached upon to the fact that this might threaten food security. So I don't know as government what balances will be created through legislation or management to balance the minor, farmer conflict. Lastly, CSOTs, the Community Share Ownership Trust, these are not operating in a transparent and accountable manner. The tender system procedures are very opaque. Nobody knows what is happening. And communities are at a loss to see whether they are going to benefit from economic development through those procedures. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Makoni. So I think, Your Excellency, I think the panel has raised issues on exploration, where we lack clarity on how much we are trading to investors. The case of ESA deal, I think, prior to your government coming in place. The aspect of opaqueness of the mining deals vis-a-vis a clause in the Constitution allowing Parliament to scrutinize mining contracts. Production data, do we know how much Zimplats is producing in terms of gold, which is part of the PGM, the platinum group of metals? The aspect of side marketing, market violence, which does impede women's participation, riverbed mining vis-a-vis ZMDC having monopoly over all this, mining loan fund and how women are finding it difficult to access this fund, illicit financial flows allowed by payment modalities where artisanal miners get 55% US dollars, 45% Zim dollars, then they opt to sell gold to the black market. So your response, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. The floor one, I suppose you said 5 floors, or you say 5 levels. Level 1, my learned brother, with regard to exploration and withholding of results of exploration. I don't know whether you suspect that it is government which encourages these people to withhold exploration results. And I think you are referring to the period when we came to office or independence, when we had various foreign companies, major foreign companies from the first world, who did exploration in about 3 parts of this country. And they went away with the results. They didn't take the results without permission, the results of the exploration. We have been able to secure some of the results after negotiations, but we haven't yet recovered all the results. But I don't think that blame should be on us. That is about the withholding of results by the former colonial companies which did exploration in this country. Occasionally, we have some of our citizens who work in those huge companies, and they, without their permission, also extract the results and bring them back to us, which is very good and patriotic for those Zimbabweans. The next one was allocation of mining rights are not transparent, yet they set away a national heritage. This is a question of governance. I don't know what transparency you're talking about. We have the Mining Affairs Board. There is no claim or grant or special grant that the president will sign, which has not been approved by the Mining Affairs Board. Mining Affairs Board, the minister is there. So that's the process which is in the law, and that is followed. And so unless you are saying that every case which comes must be published, and every investor, when he comes here, the discussions of the investor and the government or private sector must be made public. I don't know where that is happening in the world. Or what we need as a government is to make sure we have legislation which protects the national interests of this country. That's what we need. We have said Zimbabwe is open for business. By that statement, we are attempting to attract global capital to come to Zimbabwe. Global capital will go where it is treated fairly. It will go where it is comfortable. But if you are going to put the conditions and the restrictions you are mentioning, I don't know which global capital you will attract into Zimbabwe. It is true that as a government, we must make sure the national interests of this country are protected, and we do so through legislation. If there are aspects of our legislation which are weak and which require to be strengthened, you know what to do. There is not a part of this country where there is no member of parliament. You can pursue your ideas through members of parliament or through the chambers. We have chambers of commerce, chambers of mining chamber, chambers of industry. You can campaign and pass your views to improve the current legislation through those various chambers so that we can improve. We are willing to receive new ideas to improve what is already there. There's nothing that is cast in stone, but the method of engaging government is so various. You can, through parliament, through these chambers I've said, or through any other agencies. You are allowed to come. I'm a listening president. You can come to me and air your views, but obviously I will have your views checked by the experts. Production monitoring is weak, allowing for side marketing. I actually agree with you on that one. I always said to my ministers of mines, is there no way companies should have more responsibility and the government should be able to know what has been produced as compared to what is declared in the annual accounts? But currently you can own, each company has the right to on a yearly basis. We as government will put our levies, our royalties, our corporate taxes, and there's pay which for the workers. Oh, that they'll comply with all those things. But you are saying that although a company may comply with all those things, still it does not declare everything that it produces. You have to look, say, you have mentioned this company, Zimplats. Yes, Zimplats. Every year, Zimplats produces annual audited accounts. I don't know how we can go outside the audited accounts. But if any one of you has a wave of inspiration to have us better legislation, to know actually what has been produced than what has been declared, come to us. It helps the country. But Zimbabwe is not the only country which has mining activity, extractive industry. It's not only found in Zimbabwe. Let us look to other jurisdictions where there are mining concerns. Do they have legislation which is better than ours? We'll take it on board. But I don't think there is much which we have not taken on board. The best world practice is what we would want also taken on board. It's not only to satisfy the interests of ourselves as Zimbabweans, except the protection of national interest. It is also to create an economic environment where you attract global capital to invest in your country. So you mustn't always just be an inward looking. You must also have outward looking. There is an investor seated there, and there is Zambia, and there's Zimbabwe, and there's Mozambique. And they compare legislation relating to extractive industry as to where they can go and they're comfortable. So you must look at the best practice and put it on the table for you to have. After all, if you are going to say, we have minerals God gave us without asking him, he gave us the minerals, they're there, but we need technology to extract those minerals. We need the skills to extract those minerals. And we need the global capital to extract those minerals, which we don't have, those things. Yes, we can develop slowly at a very small space, but I've said we want to leapfrog and catch up with the rest of our region and with the rest of the continent and with the rest of the developing world by bringing in ICT, bringing in technology, bring in skills and attracting global capital into our jurisdiction. So to do so, you must make sure you're competitive. And this is what, again, you in the private sector want to have. You want a liberalized economy. And when we liberalize, you complain. Marketing is uncontrolled, resulting in a side marketing. Here you made the, you referred to, yeah. As a result of where we're coming, this is historical. As a result of where we're coming, we will reach a stage where everything, even the Korokoza, we will reach a stage where even the 55-45 will be removed. Because we're in transition, we are saying 55% of what for the gold you sell, you shall get in foreign currency. 45, you give in local currency. But as time goes on, as we consolidate with our monocurrency, everything that you produce shall be purchased in monocurrency with our currency, and there's no foreign currency level 55, which is there now. So you must just be thankful that we are still keeping it for you to have it. Then there's the issue of side marketing. That I am told, I'm not a Korokoza, and I'm not a man. I am told that it is a result, you have said about 20 million a year, which we lose. I was in Dubai last month, in Abu Dhabi rather, last month, and a company there came to meet me and said they would want to come and buy gold in Zimbabwe directly, because they were buying it indirectly. So they said, how? He says, no, we get about 60 million US dollars, 60 million US dollars worth of gold from Zimbabwe from the black market. 60 million. This is a company in Dubai. So says, but no, we get from third party. That money doesn't come back to you. So we would want to come and partner with ZMDC or with the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe so that we buy it for you and comes to, what is it called? Called finally, fidelity. So it can come to fidelity. You see? So those people are already here, they are now in discussion. But here is a company in the Middle East which sees 60 million worth of Zimbabwe gold, which they buy from the black market, which we lose on a yearly basis. So we need, if we have good ideas, come to us, because we also want that 60 million into the coffers of consolidated fund in the country. So that's what, and you have mentioned, I didn't know, I'm against the river, what do you call it, river what? River, but I'm against it. Because you are polluting the rivers. You are damaging our rivers. It is true, I have tried to find out what must be done. They say it is possible to do river mining using appropriate technology. So if you are going to continue with river mining, you must use appropriate technology. You must be registered. Going with the river mining on your own, and they put cyanide and I don't know other things which you use. Mercury into the river. That's very bad. That we must fight. I am happy my policemen are here. River mining, you must give attention to that. It must be done properly because the water flows. You may have an area where there's gold. Some other 300 kilometers down the line, perhaps they have no gold, but the water goes there and it is now polluted. So we must control it. Yes, you have mentioned about Belarus. I know that Belarus has partnered with Zimbabwe, ZMDC, Zimbabwe Mineral. Yes, they've partnered with those people. Why? ZMDC on its own has no equipment, has no technology, has no capital. It has to partner with the people or an investor who has the capital, and they have to do it appropriately. And they must be registered. And they must follow the conditions imposed for that area by our government or by laws in that sector. Our women or our youth who want to go in that area, one, you must have the capacity, you must have the capital, you must have the technology, you must have the skills. But if you don't have them, partner. Look for an investor to partner with, and they will accept you. But for you to go there with pick and the shuffle, we will not allow. benefit sharing of mineral proceeds excludes nationals who are entitled to a share in these depletable resources. This is why we've introduced the community share trusts. Yeah. But the most fundamental point you must put in your minds is all minerals belong to the state. And the captain of the state is the head of state. And it is me. However, not every community has equal resources. They are different. This is why we have 5 ecological regions in the country. Some provinces have lots of minerals, like the Midlands, I think Mashonaland West, and to some extent Mashonaland, I think Central. They have lots of minerals. But then the people in, say, Mat South or Maswingo South, Kuchirezi, Kusinauk, Kusina diamonds, Kusina platinum, they must also benefit. Because this platinum or diamonds or gold is a national resource. It's not a communal resource. We should, however, take into consideration that those already in that particular community should have benefit. And this is why, without the community participating directly, without bringing any skills, without bringing any technology, without demanding any capital from them, we put a percentage of the revenue coming from the minerals in their area for themselves to deal with their challenges like clinics, road construction, bridges, schools, and so on. That we have, and I think it's a good policy. The question is how much of revenue should be allocated to the community? That's a debatable question which we can argue for or against. I think that was these, as you say here, you've underlined, these minerals are depletable. They are depletable. Once they are finished, they don't get recreated again. They are all gone. So we must, the community must benefit, and this is why we are creating the wealth fund, the sovereign wealth fund, so that a portion of this wealth is kept in that sovereign wealth fund for the young boys and girls who are seated here in the future. They will learn that this country was endowed with a lot of minerals, but then there's nothing has remained. We've all used it ourselves. We have the sovereign fund where we deposit the funds for the future. This is critically important. But as I say, we are ready as government. We are ready to listen to areas where the people who are directly affected are able to identify the weaknesses of our policies, and so that we can correct such weaknesses. It's completely, I mean, it is important that we open ourselves and we be a servant government listening to our people. But above that, we must be able to be attractive. It's like a woman wanting to get married. She must make sure she bathes. She looks clean. The same with a boy who wants to attract a girl. The boy must also make sure he is clean. He makes himself attractive to the girl. So even in the economy, we must make our economic policy attractive to suitors from outside to come and invest. We mustn't be introverted, just look into our own interests. We must also look outward for the interests of those whom we want to assist us create revenue, create wealth for us. So this is critically important, that as we safeguard our national interests, we must remember that we are not an island. We have been in isolation now for 2 decades. We must open up. We must be embraced by the international community. We must also embrace the international community, and to do so, some of the things that we think hold we must relax. We don't want to remain behind. We must be part of the progressive world. We must be part of the modern world. And to do so, we must liberalize. We must reform. Reform. Then we will grow. We shouldn't remain with our heads in sand. I thank you.
Okay. So there's one question I think most people are eager to hear your response. The issue of machete violence.
Oh, we have, there are my police commissioners are here. We are against that. Totally. We have legislated against machetes or any instrument that is harmful. It's currently now, anyone found with that type of instrument will be arrested. Or what we are now looking at through the Ministry of Justice here is the level of sentencing. We would want to increase the level of sentencing so that it becomes deterrent.
Okay.
But in terms of the law, we are okay. But it's a question now of sentencing.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Your Excellency, and I want to allow people to applaud you, but more importantly to applaud you for two things. Your government committed to joining the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative in the 2019 budget statement. Your government, again, in the 2020 budget statement, it said that it wants ZAC to develop a national anti-corruption strategy. So I want to applaud you for that, and I'll allow people to applaud you for that. Then I'll put a comment. I want to beg your listening ear while I'm applauding you. I think you're asking how best can we deal with production data? And EITI is the remedy to that. The Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative will tell us how much are we producing, how much is ZMDC producing, how much is Unki Mine producing in terms of platinum. So once we join EITI, Your Excellency, believe me, I think you far reach the goal of the $12 billion million economy by having much funds from productions, from licenses. We know who owns which licenses in Zimbabwe. I made reference to the National Anti-Corruption Strategy for a particular reason that I think within the strategy itself, we need to prioritize mining and the need of fighting corruption in the mining sector. Mining is key to the Zimbabwean economy, and we need to prioritize it in the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. I'll be very happy through Ms. Michelle Abu's office, APNAC, to deliver a policy note to you, some of the things that your office could consider. One of the things is standardizing timelines of issuance of mining claims. Corruption thrives when timelines are not standard. When you have to wait for a license for 5 years, when you have to wait for a license for 6 months, you then opt to bribe someone to access a license. So these are some of the policy recommendations that you could also look into. The other thing I think is the issue of the Act of Parliament under Section 315. Allow your Parliament, President, to review all mining contracts. Allow this Parliament to review all mining contracts so that we look at production, we look at who are we selling gold or platinum to. I want to thank you so much for being a listening president, and we'll deliver a policy note to you. Thank you so much.
May I correct you? Parliament, there are three pillars of state. The judiciary, you see that lady, is the acting Chief Justice of this country. They are independent. I'm very angry with them, but there's nothing I can do with regard to corruption cases. There's nothing I can do. They will continue to do what they're doing because they're independent. You see, this guy is the head of Parliament, and their job is to make laws, legislative laws, in Parliament. If you are going to say Parliament must supervise private companies, I don't know whether that will be practicable. For every contract, when SWEPS wants to do a plant in Plumtree, they must look at it. I don't know whether there will be many companies who would want to be exposed by their plans to be debated in Parliament, where people are quarreling left and right and some walking out. There is a limit. There there's a limit to what, in fact, the Constitution is very clear as to they have oversight over government, not oversight over the private sector, no. They exercise oversight over government institutions, like all my ministries and the parastatals. They have oversight. They must know how public money has been spent, and they have rules. I've been a speaker before, I've been also a former speaker. So I know that jurisdiction. Yeah, but to say that, as you are saying, no, you should, when companies make contacts, they must come and the parliament must forget. That is critically important for you to understand. Government is the executive, right? We collect public money and they use it to develop public institutions. We must make roads, we must railway lines, airlines, schools, clinics, various infrastructure services, water, sanitation. Criticize us when you have poor sanitation. Criticize us if we have poor roads. Criticize you public utilities. That's why you must criticize us and condemn us. And don't vote for me. You see, if I'm failing to give the things that you do, there's democracy in this country. But the executive has its role cut out. The judiciary, they have their role cut out. The legislature, they have their role cut out. The private sector have their role, but there must always be dialogue between all these institutions, the private sector and the public sector. Us, the executive and the legislature, we must dialogue. Us and the judiciary, we must dialogue. And that is what I think brings harmony in the country. So that the challenges which we face, we should share those challenges and the solutions as we move together. I thank you.
So, thank you so much for listening to our submissions. We'll make our arguments in the paper that we share with you. Thank you so much.